Ladies and gentlemen, act successful until you become successful. That's the principle. That's the key. And that's the difference that separates those who merely dream from those who actually live their dream. It's not about waiting for success to knock politely at your door. It's about preparing yourself so that when the door opens, you already belong inside. It's about dressing the part, walking the part, and living the part long before the world recognizes it in you. Because success is never a single event. It's not a lightning strike. It's a daily rhythm, a habit, a pattern, a way of showing up with consistency. If you act defeated, you will remain defeated. If you act lazy, you will remain lazy. But if you act disciplined, if you act confident, if you act focused, life itself will eventually yield and deliver to you the results that match the role you've been rehearsing. So let me ask you, what role are you rehearsing for? What character are you shaping in the story of your life? Because here's the truth. Nobody suddenly rises to success. You grow into it. You expand into it step by step, day by day, decision by decision. That's the path. So let's get real. How do you act successful until you become successful? How do you embody tomorrow's reward in today's discipline? Understand this first. Acting successful is not pretending. It's preparing. It's planting the seed before the harvest. Think about the farmer. Does he wait for the crops before he decides to sow? No, he plants when the ground looks empty, when there is no evidence of reward. Why? Because he knows first comes planting, then comes harvest. Likewise, first comes acting, then comes becoming. Success never arrives all at once. It doesn't fall from the sky as a finished package. It shows up in fragments. It shows up in habits. It shows up in the way you carry yourself long before the external prize arrives. And here's a mistake too many people make. They wait for proof. They say, when I succeed, then I'll show up early. When I succeed, then I'll dress sharp. When I succeed, then I'll carry myself with confidence. But it doesn't work that way. You don't wait for the result to create the action. You create the action to build the result. If a farmer said, when the harvest comes, then I'll start planting, you would laugh because it makes no sense. Yet, that's how so many live. They postpone success by waiting for a sign. They postpone progress by waiting for someone else to notice them. But the world doesn't wait. Life doesn't pause. Either you act or you stay stuck. So hear me clearly. If you wait until you have the money, the title, the business, the applause to act successful, you'll wait forever. Because success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who prepare. You don't suddenly become disciplined after you succeed. You become disciplined before success. You don't suddenly become confident after success. Confidence is forged on the road to success. You don't suddenly become focused after the prize arrives. Focus is what builds the road to the prize. And here's why this matters. Your actions shape your identity, and your identity shapes your destiny. If you act lazy, your future confirms your laziness. If you act careless, your future confirms your carelessness. But if you act like a leader, if you act like a builder, if you act like a winner, then your future will align with that role. Because life responds to patterns, and your daily pattern is announcing to the world who you are becoming. So what are your patterns saying? What role are you rehearsing? Look closely, because every day you're in rehearsal. Every choice is a script. Every action is a line. And sooner or later the curtain will rise and you will play out exactly what you've practiced. If you practice laziness, laziness will own your future. If you practice discipline, discipline will sculpt your future. Now, let me make a distinction because some people get confused. Don't mix acting successful with faking success. There's a huge difference. Faking success is about appearances. It's about looking rich when you're not, pretending to know when you don't, showing off to impress. That's not acting successful. That's lying to yourself and others. Acting successful is about preparation. It's about showing up, not showing off. It's about building your foundation with integrity. It's about choosing discipline over laziness. Confidence over doubt, focus over distraction. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you act successful before the results arrive, you actually start attracting the opportunities that match the role you're playing. People notice, they hear your words, they see your posture, they sense your energy. They say, this person is going somewhere. I want to work with them. I want to trust them. I want to follow them. That's how doors open. Not because you begged for them, but because you became worthy of them. So remember this principle. The world always treats you the way you treat yourself. If you carry yourself small, the world will hand you small opportunities. If you carry yourself strong, the world will hand you greater opportunities. If you carry yourself like someone waiting for approval, you'll always be waiting. If you carry yourself like someone who belongs in the life they are building, so start today. Don't wait another sunrise. Begin now. Act as though you already belong in the life you're pursuing. Wake up earlier. Dress sharper. Speak clearer. Think bigger. Work harder. Not because you're faking it, but because you're becoming it. That's the essence. That's the law. That's the pattern. And when you live like that day after day, something powerful begins to shift. Your inner world and your outer world begin to align. Your words gain weight. Your steps gain certainty. Your vision gains clarity. And suddenly what once felt far away begins to feel possible, then probable, and eventually inevitable. That's the power of rehearsal. That's the power of acting today like the person you intend to be tomorrow. So don't shrink. Don't hesitate. Don't wait for applause to justify the effort. Give yourself permission to live above your current level. Carry yourself with the confidence of someone already rising. Speak with the conviction of someone who believes in their future. Work with the diligence of someone who knows their time is coming because it is. And when it does, you will be surprised. You'll be ready. Act successful until you become successful. That's not a slogan. That's not a trick. That's the seed, the soil, the sunlight, and the water Allen one. It's the foundation of transformation. It's the announcement of who you are becoming. And if you begin now, one day the life you acted will be the life you are living. If you want success, don't just wait for it. Chase it. And the smartest way to chase it is to watch those who already have it. If you want wisdom, listen to the wise. If you want growth, follow the growers. The path is already there. It's not hidden. It's not locked away in a secret vault. Others have walked it. Others have stumbled on it. Others have climbed it and left behind footprints, lessons, mistakes, victories. The road is not mysterious. The only question is whether you are willing to follow. Now, arrogance whispers, "I'll do it my way. I don't need anyone's example." But wisdom whispers, "Learn from those who've already done it." When I was younger, I believed effort was enough. I thought if I just worked harder than everyone else, it would eventually happen. And yes, effort matters. Effort is fuel, but effort without direction is wasted. Effort without clarity leads to exhaustion, not success. What you need is not just energy, but a roadmap. And where do you find that roadmap? You find it in the lives of those who already walked the road. Look around you. Who has the life you want? Not just the money, not just the title, but the values, the strength, the freedom, the peace. Find them, study them. Ask yourself, how do they think? How do they plan their day? How do they treat people? How do they respond to problems? How do they carry themselves in victory? And how do they handle defeat? Because success is not an accident. It leaves evidence. It leaves fingerprints. And those clues are hidden in the daily routines and disciplines of those who are already living what you desire. So here's a principle. Don't just admire successful people. Imitate them. Don't just say, "Wow, I love what they've built." Ask, what did they do daily to build it? Then do the same. If they read, you read. If they write, you write. If they rise early, you rise early. If they plan, you plan. If they save, you save. If they invest, you invest. If they discipline their mind, you discipline your mind. Why? Because your habits are constructing your future brick by brick. And if you mirror the habits of success, eventually you mirror the results of success. But let me warn you, some people will laugh at you. Some will say, "Why are you trying to be like them? Why are you acting different? Why are you changing?" That's because they don't see where you're going. People who stay the same will always mock people who are trying to grow. But you cannot let their laughter chain you to mediocrity, because one day the same voices that laughed will be the voices asking you, "How did you do it?" And here's something critical. Don't just copy their public life. Copy their private disciplines. Anyone can smile on stage. Anyone can dress up for a moment. Anyone can polish an image. But the real treasure is in the unseen hours. It's in the pages they read when no one's watching. It's in the preparation they do when no applause is given. It's in the thoughts they guard in silence. That's where success is built. It's not in the spotlight. It's in the shadows. And if you want success, you must be willing to adopt not just the performance, but the practice. So here's your assignment. Choose a model. Find someone whose life you respect, not just admire, but respect and begin mirroring their habits, not all at once, not in one giant leap, one by one, day by day. At first, it feels awkward. At first, it feels like you're pretending, but repetition changes identity slowly. Their disciplines become your disciplines. Their strength becomes your strength. Their wisdom becomes your wisdom. And here's the magic. You don't stay a copy forever. At first, you borrow. At first, you lean on their example. But eventually, you grow into your own. You move from imitation to creation. You move from being a follower to becoming a leader. But you don't skip the steps. First, you imitate. First, you follow. First, you learn the rhythm, and then one day you'll play your own music. Don't be afraid to be a student. Don't be afraid to admit someone knows more. Don't be afraid to kneel before wisdom so that you can rise with understanding, because humility is the soil where greatness grows. Pride keeps people blind, but humility makes them learners. And every great achiever was once a humble student. Every great builder was once an apprentice. Every leader was once a follower. That's the order of growth. So act successful until you become successful. And one of the wisest ways to act successful is to follow those who already live it. Copy their focus, copy their consistency, copy their persistence. Because when you copy their habits, you copy their trajectory. And one day someone else will look at you the same way you once looked at them. They will say, if they can do it, maybe I can too, and post it. But here's where many fail. They admire from a distance. They say, wow, what an incredible life. But they never ask what disciplines built that life. They enjoy the fruit, but never study the roots. They want the crown, but ignore the grind. Don't make that mistake. Study both the victories and the struggles. Study how they survived rejection. Study how they endured failure. Because success is not just what you do when it's easy. It's what you do when it's hard. And remember this, every master was once a beginner. Every expert was once a novice fumbling in the dark. Every success story started with someone deciding to try, to learn, to keep going. So don't despise small beginnings. Don't underestimate the power of repetition. Don't think greatness is born. It is built. And it is built by those who are willing to practice today what they want to embody tomorrow. Yes, at times it feels repetitive. At times it feels unnoticed. At times it feels thankless. But those are the moments that separate the real from the fake, because the fake give up when no one is clapping. The real keep going even in silence, and that's why the world eventually claps for them. So take courage, step forward, imitate greatness, copy discipline, borrow strength, lean on examples. And as you walk that path, you will discover something extraordinary. The day will come when you are no longer just rehearsing success. You are living it. The habits have become natural. The posture has become authentic. The identity has shifted, and the world begins to call you what you always acted like, successful. That's the journey. First act it, then believe it, then live it. But don't skip the act. Don't despise the imitation. Don't run from the student stage, because that stage is what equips you for the leader stage. And one day, without even noticing, the roles will reverse. You will become the example. You will become the proof, and others will follow in your footsteps the same way you once followed in theirs. That is the cycle of growth. That is the ladder of success. From admirer to imitator, from imitator to practitioner, from practitioner to creator, from creator to leader. That's how you act successful until you become successful. You'll never hold success if you can't first see it. That's the law of belief. Belief is vision. Belief is sight. Belief is the picture in your mind of what could be long before it ever shows up in your hand. Your mind builds the blueprint before your body builds the house. Without the blueprint, the house is never built. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. Most people fail because they lack belief. They whisper deep inside, not me, not here, not now. And that whisper kills more dreams than failure ever could. Because if you don't believe in your success, why would you ever pursue it? Why would you wake up early, push through resistance, keep moving when the world shouts? Stop. You won't. Because the body always follows the mind, and the mind always follows belief. That's why success is built inside before it's ever built outside. You must see it in the mirror before you see it in the marketplace. You must believe it in your heart before you hold it in your hand. You must feel it in your bones before it shows up in your bank account. So let me ask you, what do you believe about yourself right now? When you look at your life, do you see scarcity or abundance? Do you see limitation or possibility? Because belief is not neutral. It is building your future or it is breaking it. If you believe you are unworthy, your actions will follow unworthiness. If you believe you are destined for greatness, your actions will follow greatness. Here's the truth. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe. If you believe you're capable, opportunities appear. If you believe you're valuable, doors open. If you believe your future is bigger than your past, your decisions align with that picture. But if you don't believe, you sabotage yourself before you even start. You close the door before the opportunity even knocks. So, how do you build belief? 3 pillars: words, images, and action. First, words. The language you speak to yourself every day is either lifting you or limiting you. Stop saying, I can't, I never. It's too late. Replace them with, I can, I will, I must. Speak it even when you don't feel it. Speak it until your ears convince your heart and your heart convinces your hands. Second, images. What are you feeding your mind? What do you stare at? What do you meditate on? Fill your imagination with the life you want. Put it on a board. Put it on your wall. Put it in your notebook. Let your eyes feast on your future until it feels familiar. Because when the picture in your head becomes stronger than the memory of your past, your future begins to take shape. Third, action. Belief grows when you move. Every step is proof. Every small victory adds fuel. You say to yourself, see, I did it once, I can do it again. Belief doesn't grow in silence. It grows in movement. Do something, take the step. Don't wait for perfect. Don't wait for permission. Move. And as you move, your belief strengthens. Belief is not magic. Belief is direction. It tells your mind where to go, your body what to do, and your spirit how to endure. It steadies you when the storm is raging, because storms will come, resistance will rise, people will doubt you, doors will close. But belief keeps you standing when everything else is shaking. Think about it. 2 people face the same storm. One says, this will destroy me. The other says, same storm, different outcome. Why? Belief. Belief doesn't change the storm, but it changes you in the storm. So guard your belief. Surround yourself with people who believe in themselves, because belief is contagious. Spend your time with doubters and you'll inherit their doubt. Spend your time with dreamers and you'll inherit their faith. Your circle is either igniting you or extinguishing you. Choose carefully and don't confuse belief with pretending. Pretending is lying to yourself. Belief is seeing potential before it's visible. When you plant a seed, you don't see the tree, but you believe the tree is in there. So you water it, you protect it, you wait on it because you already see the tree inside the seed. That's belief. So picture this, you act successful, you believe successful, and slowly your life begins to mirror the picture you carried inside. At first it feels small. You imagine yourself strong, and one day you feel strength rising in your body. You imagine yourself confident, and one day your voice carries weight. You imagine yourself successful, and one day people call you successful. What happened? You turned imagination into reality. That's the sequence. Imagination is the preview. Belief is the engine. Action is the bridge. Results are the reward. And the greatest reward is not money, not titles, not applause. The greatest reward is who you become. Because money can be lost, titles can fade, applause can quiet, but character stays, discipline stays, strength stays, confidence stays. That's the treasure no one can take. And success feels different when you've earned it. When you've walked the miles, carried the weight, fought through the nights of doubt, and kept going anyway. When you've built it brick by brick, there's a satisfaction in that. Money can't buy. It's not luck. It's not accident. It's not magic. It's you. It's your belief, your choices, your persistence. And now you live inside the house you built. But let me remind you, the harvest doesn't appear overnight. It doesn't show up after one attempt. It comes to those who endure. Think of the farmer again. He plants, waters, protects. Weeks pass. Nothing? Still, he believes. Still he waits, and then one day the sprout growth harvest. The harvest always comes bigger than the seed. So start with the seed of belief. Speak the right words. Fill your mind with the right images. Take the right actions. Day by day, your belief grows. Your identity strengthens and your reality begins to change. Because the truth is this, your future is hidden in what you believe today. If you believe small, you'll live small. If you believe big, you'll live wide. If you believe in fear, you'll hesitate. If you believe in courage, you'll advance. And that choice is made right now. So I challenge you, believe boldly. Believe with conviction. Believe until your bones agree, until your spirit agrees, until your actions align. Believe until doubt shrinks in your shadow. Believe until your reflection says, yes, this is who I am becoming. Because when you believe long enough, hard enough, consistently enough, the world will have no choice but to confirm what you already knew inside. Act successful until you become successful.
Yes.
But understand this belief is the oxygen of that action. Without belief, your acting is hollow. With belief, your acting becomes unstoppable. And when those two unite, your future is inevitable. Now let's talk about reward. Because when you act successful, when you believe in success, when you commit to the habits and the discipline, a reward always comes. But here's the truth. The reward doesn't show up the way most people imagine. It doesn't fall from the sky. It doesn't arrive on day one. It doesn't show up just because you wish for it. No, the reward is for those who stay, for those who persist, for those who endure. Think again of the farmer. He plants the seed. He waters it. He protects it. Weeks go by. The ground looks empty. To the untrained eye, it looks like nothing is happening. But the farmer knows growth is taking place beneath the soil. Roots are stretching before fruit ever appears. And then one day, what was invisible becomes visible. First the sprout, then the stalk, then the harvest. That's how success works. At first, you see nothing. But if you keep acting, keep believing, keep preparing, one day the reward arrives, and the reward is always greater than the seed. So understand this. The first reward is inner. The second reward is outer. The inner reward comes first. Peace, confidence, strength, satisfaction. It's that quiet assurance you feel even before money shows up, even before titles appear. You sense yourself growing, and that's proof enough to keep going. Then, in time, the outer reward follows. Opportunity, recognition, wealth. But if you chase the outer without the inner, you'll collapse because external success cannot survive internal weakness. That's why you must first build the inner reward, build discipline, build patience, build gratitude, build resilience. Those are the foundations no storm can shake. And when you've built that, the outer reward will come to match it. Then when it comes, you won't be overwhelmed. You'll be ready. Now, let's make something clear. The reward is not just about what you get. It's about who you become. Money can be spent. Titles can be taken. Applause can fade. But the person you become that stays forever, that's the reward no one can take. And that's why the reward of the journey feels so different, because you didn't just receive something, you transformed into someone. Imagine the difference between a person handed success overnight and a person who fought for it day after day. The one who fought has something deeper than money or fame. They have character. They have grit. They have the quiet power of knowing I earned this. I built this. That satisfaction can't be bought. It can only be lived. But I must give you a warning. The reward doesn't come to the impatient. It doesn't come to the ones who quit after the first setback. It doesn't come to those who say, it didn't work. Success is stubborn. It resists the faint-hearted. It tests your will. It stretches your patience. It asks, do you really want me? And only those who answer with persistence win the prize. So here's the mindset. Treat your dream like a seed. Protect it, water it, work for it, even when you see nothing. Believe something is happening because it is. Success is growing in secret before it ever grows in public. And let me show you the practical side. The reward comes in layers. At first, it's small victories. Waking up early, finishing the task, controlling your words, mastering your schedule. Those are rewards, proof that you're changing. Then come the opportunities. Someone notices your work. Someone opens a door. Someone trusts you with more. That's reward. And then come the bigger prizes, the money, the recognition, the influence. But it always begins with the invisible inner shifts. So don't despise the small reward. Celebrate them. Each one is a brick in the house you're building. Each one is evidence that success is taking root. Don't say it's not enough. Say it's proof I'm on my way, because small rewards build into large ones. Now let's take it further. The highest reward of all is not the outer prize, not even the inner growth. The highest reward is influence. Influence is the ability to inspire, to ignite, to leave something behind. Because success is not just about what you achieve. It's about what you pass on. Think about your own life. There was a time when you looked around for proof. You searched for someone to show you it was possible. You needed someone's example to keep you moving. And when you found that proof, it gave you courage. Now, one day that will be you. Someone will look at you and say, because of them I believed again. Because of them I kept going. Because of them I didn't quit. That is the greatest reward of all, because money cannot buy that. Fame cannot match that. Titles cannot replace that. When your life becomes proof for another, when your story becomes fuel for someone else's journey, that is legacy, that is significance. And that's why the reward is bigger than the car, the house, the applause. The reward is the ripple effect of your example. And here's something beautiful. You don't inspire people by being perfect. You inspire them by persevering. They're not moved because you never struggled. They're moved because you struggled and still rose. They're not amazed that you never fell. They're amazed that you fell and still stood. That's what ignites faith in others. That's what builds influence. So live carefully, live intentionally, because every day, whether you know it or not, your life is sending a message. What does your life say right now? Does it say discipline or distraction? Does it say courage or fear? Does it say growth or excuses? People may not listen to every word you speak, but they're always reading the book of your life. And your example speaks louder than any speech. That's why the reward is not just personal, it's generational. It outlives you. It multiplies. Your kindness today might spark kindness in a stranger. Your courage today might fuel courage in a child. Your discipline today might shape the next leader. The ripple spreads, and you may never know how far it reaches. So here's the decision. Don't stop at achievement. Go for significance. Success is about what you build for yourself. Significance is about what you build for others. Success is measured by what you take. Significance is measured by what you give. Success is the mountain you climb. Significance is the hand you extend to help another climb. And true greatness always moves from success to significance. Because when your time is done, when your story is finished, the car will be gone. The house will belong to someone else. The title will fade. But the influence that stays, that echoes, that multiplies, that is the reward worth living for. So remember the past. First you act it, then you believe it, then you live it, and finally you give it. That's the full circle. And when you arrive at that last stage, giving, you understand the deepest secret. The reward of success is not just living the life you imagine. It's helping others imagine more for themselves. So here we are, the final stage of the journey. You've acted it. You've believed it. You've lived it. Now comes the highest calling. You give it. Because the ultimate measure of success is not what you keep, but what you contribute. Not just what you achieve, but what you inspire. Not just the life you build, but the lives you touch. Think back to the beginning. There was a time when you were the student. You were the one searching for proof, looking for examples, needing someone to show you it could be done. You leaned on their wisdom. You copied their habits. You followed their footsteps. That was your beginning. But now the roles shift, because one day someone else will look at you with the same hunger. They'll be searching for a light, and your life will be the candle that guides them. That's legacy. That's influence. That's the reward that outlives you. You see, achievement alone is never enough. If all you do is chase trophies, titles, and trinkets, the hunger never ends. Once you get the car, you want a bigger one. Once you get the house, you want a grander one. Once you get the title, you want another. That game never ends, but contribution that endures. When someone says, because of you, I didn't quit. Because of you, I believed again. Because of you, I changed my life. That's priceless. That's permanent. That's the kind of reward time cannot erase. And don't think legacy requires perfection. It doesn't. People are not inspired by a flawless life. They're inspired by perseverance. They're inspired by the fact that you kept going when it was hard. They're inspired that you stayed disciplined when it was easier to quit, that you rose after falling, that you kept faith when everything screamed out. That's what ignites belief in others. So live with that awareness. Every day your life is saying something. Every action is a message. What does your life say right now? Does it say courage or fear, growth or excuses, faith or doubt? People may not listen to all your words, but they will always read the story of your actions. And this is why acting successful until you become successful matters so much. Because in the beginning, it was about your transformation. But in the end, it becomes about someone else's. The way you live becomes someone else's evidence that success is possible. The way you rise becomes someone else's permission to rise. The way you shine becomes someone else's light in their darkness. That's significance. So let's put this whole journey together. First, you act it. You wake up earlier. You sharpen your discipline. You carry yourself with confidence. You live today as if the success you dream of is already yours. Then you believe it. You build the inner picture. You speak the right words. You fill your imagination with images of growth. And you move in alignment with that vision. Then you live it day by day. Your actions, your habits, your persistence, they create results. You begin to embody the person you rehearsed. And finally, you give it. You let your life echo. You let your story become proof. You pass on what you've learned, and your success multiplies beyond you. That's the full circle from seed to harvest, from dream to reality, from student to teacher. That's the destiny of every person willing to act, believe, live, and give. So what will your story be? Will it end at achievement, or will it echo through generations as significance? Will you be remembered for what you collected or for what you contributed? Will your life speak of excuses, or will it thunder with courage? That choice is yours. And it's not made someday, it's made today. It's made in the discipline you choose this morning, in the words you speak to yourself this afternoon, in the persistence you show tonight when no one is watching. Don't underestimate yourself. Don't downplay your role. Your life may be the only sermon someone ever hears. Your courage may be the only fuel someone ever receives. Your example may be the only map someone ever follows. And that means every choice matters. Every action counts. Every day is part of the legacy you are leaving. So live deliberately, live boldly, live generously, because the reward is not just the life you imagine. It's the lives you influence. The reward is not just reaching the mountaintop. It's helping someone else climb. The reward is not just what you accomplish. It's what you awaken in others. And here's the final secret. Success is never a destination. It's a cycle. Once you achieve, you imagine again. Once you grow, you dream bigger. Once you reach one summit, you see another. And each time you act again, you believe again, you live again, you give again, higher, stronger, greater. That's the rhythm of a life of significance. So let this be your declaration. I will act successful until I become successful. I will not wait for proof. I will not wait for applause. I will not wait for permission. I will decide now. I will believe boldly. I will discipline daily. I will persist relentlessly. I will live authentically, and I will give generously. Because in the end, the world doesn't just need more achievers. It needs more givers. It doesn't just need more success stories. It needs more significant stories. And you have the power to be both, to live the life you imagine and to light the way for others to imagine more. So step into it. Don't delay. Don't shrink. Don't settle. Rise today. Act it. Believe it. Live it. Give it. Because when you do, you won't just build success, you'll build a legacy. And that is the reward no one can take